Hey, welcome back. Just half past the top of the hour, noon Eastern here in New York. We're coming to you live every day, Monday to Friday, from the Question Tequila Studios, high atop the financial capital of the world, right across the street from the New York Stock Exchange. And right now at the New York Stock Exchange, it's spitting back some of the gains from this morning, just in red territory, but I think it holds 26,000. Things are okay. There was a big run-up, so maybe a little bit of a sell-off, but I think it bounces back into the 27s. And Bitcoin remains stable at 7,700. Through 8,000 is the next point where it could have a big move to the upside. Big move to the upside is when we have the Mix It Up segment, where we bring on every day a Republican, a Democrat. We throw out a topic. We display our bipartisanship and let all voices be heard. I want to thank David Eisenbach for joining us again. Professor, presidential historian, ran for New York City public advocate, knows all the ins and outs and everything. And of course, I pronounced your name before, Murray O'Brien.
I do well in Borough Park when you call me Murray.
That's what I'm saying. It works both ways.
There you go.
Your but name in the mirror.
Against the professor, I'm not sure what I'm up against here.
Yeah, okay. This is a presidential historian, a guy who's had a hand in many campaigns, is in the room when the team was trying to encourage Donald Trump to run for governor. He's been in all the back rooms, and you guys are the perfect panel.
We don't have back rooms anymore.
Yeah.
I don't get my cigars anymore.
Well, we have the Havana Club. That's the modern day back room, you know?
There you go.
And I remember going there one time, and Rudy Giuliani was sitting there with Sharpton. The weirdest, cigar bedfellows.
And in New York, it's a regular occurrence.
100%. Hey guys, what we do here is we really do try to talk about our audience being purple people, a lot of libertarians, a lot of people who are socially liberal and fiscally conservative.
Sure.
So every day we try to get all points of view heard. We keep it light. You want to have a cocktail, you're welcome to food. Today brought to you by Champs Gourmet. You go to Champs Gourmet Deli. You call Greg, he'll treat you like family, and he takes care of us like you can't.
I was just eating one of these pickles before the break. They're terrific. I didn't have time to eat the sandwich.
You guys go on all these other fancy networks. Did they give you sandwiches?
No.
Hey, that's what I'm saying.
Like
Free tequila. So guys, I want you to take a look at this clip of John Dean, and we've been talking about this heavily today because I think it's just so ridiculous. But take a look at this, and then I want you to both weigh in on this.
I want to focus on that last sentence. As POTUS, as President of the United States, he, Donald Trump, is incapable of accomplishing anything. When you made that statement, Mr. Dean, what did you have in mind? You thinking about the 3.2% economic growth rate we had the last quarter? Thinking about the fact we got the lowest unemployment in 50 years? How about the fact the hostages are back from North Korea? Maybe you were thinking about this. When you said the President of the United States was incapable of doing anything, were you thinking about the fact that the embassy is now in Jerusalem? Or what were you thinking about when you said he's incapable of accomplishing anything?
Mr. Jordan, I think that under the parliamentary rules of the House, I'm refraining from addressing a full answer to your question.
First. Yeah. Go to Dave first. When you start referring to the parliamentary rules, you kind of stumped.
Yeah, that was kind of a low point in the testimony.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Your views on this? Is this worth anything?
The bigger point is that there are parallels with the Watergate scandal. The first thing that he raised is that, just like with Richard Nixon, he didn't necessarily, we still don't know if he ordered the actual break-in, but it doesn't matter. It's the cover-up that matters. That was one of the points that Dean was making. Secondly, when the use of the pardon or dangling out the pardon to Roger Stone or Manafort, that happened.
Let me just stop you on that point.
Yeah.
Dangle. It's such a, it's like in the law, reasonable best efforts. It's like the broadest thing you could say. Dangle. Roger Stone is redacted. John Dean said, based on conjecture, it's clear that's Roger Stone. So he's indicting Stone. He's reading through the redaction to even talk about Stone. But does the president have to dangle? Everyone knows. Be nice and maybe he'll give you a pardon. But do you have to dangle it? It's ridiculous.
No. Where it gets problematic, and this is what Dean said, even Richard Nixon sort of admitted at the very end, you know what, I shouldn't have suggested that I would give you a pardon.
But is there any evidence that he suggested this?
But let's go back. That's just one little tidbit of the, you showed a clip of the whole thing. That's even a tidbit of the clip. This guy is a CNN commentator taking shots at Republicans for many months before being brought in. He was brought in as a Democratic shill. No offense, but you want to reach across the aisle, let's bring somebody in as a historian. You would have been terrific had you not been a Democratic operative, so to speak, because the history and your knowledge from Columbia, that would be the kind of person to come in and talk about the parallels, not a Democratic talking head who happens to have worked for a Republican president. Oh, by the way, and had a seat at history. He doesn't have a seat at this history, he is history at this point.
Is it helpful to the country to say he can't get anything accomplished when there's clearly tangible accomplishments?
Yeah, well, I mean, again, that's like a political debating talking point, right? What the Democrats, let's just get back to the politics of it, right?
Yep.
If they want to impeach Trump, right, what Dean was saying is there's enough on the table that you could go for impeachment. That's all he was.
Give me a
I actually spent a week in Israel. I just got back
Yeah?
on Friday. I was with the ambassador in his residence. They just opened up. They opened up the embassy a year ago. The residence just opened up a month ago. The people in Israel are so excited about this president. It's more so than even the streets of New York here. That's just one accomplishment.
Here's something I don't understand.
But for
Why,
years,
when we were talking about impeachment, this happened yesterday, we bring up Israel?
Because-
what does that have to
he's
do with
saying there were
anything?
no
because
accomplishments.
there was no accomplishments.
He's saying the guy has
no
no
president has done this. It's been talked about for decades.
But getting back to whether or not there was obstruction of justice, it's got nothing to do with embassies in Israel and North Korea.
But Dean has nothing to do with what's going on.
Agreed,
right now
but
today
there's
either.
no roadmap because the special counsel was not reporting to Congress. That was the independent counsel, Ken Starr. The special counsel was reporting to the DOJ. There is no roadmap for Congress. This is who he reports to, the DOJ. That's it.
To answer
me,
your
that's
question,
the way I
you
see
asked
it.
the question, why bring up Israel? It is an example of something he got accomplished that other presidents couldn't and wouldn't do.
That was a very small point of Dean's testimony. I'm not even sure why he said it. Right? It certainly got allowed for an opening. Right? In terms of the essence of his testimony, which was that there were impeachable offenses in the Nixon administration that are parallel to the Trump administration, he laid down 6 that are pretty solid enough for the Democrats to
But he's got no
impeach.
expertise in talking about that.
This is a solid segment. O'Brien Murray, David Eisenbach. We've got to have you guys back again for 2 segments.